Hello, welcome back to Kaiserreich. So I have a suggestion for this playthrough, and that is, since not a lot of like stuff happens over the the longer spans of time here, like when shit is happening, it seems to all be happening like simultaneously. It's everything's happening at once basically. Like when we invade somewhere, that's going to be like a thing where that's when the action happens. Yes, and so on and so forth. Like, because of that, I suggest that for the Norway playthrough, because a lot of this is now just like statically potentially waiting for other sides to get involved in the war, and also waiting for the enemy to run out of manpower, because they are running out at a greater rate than we are. Because of that, I suggest that we potentially do like I only show stuff on camera if it actually is interesting. So like I might just play for a bit and then slap on the or slap the recording button when something interesting happens, and then sort of play from there. And of course I'll go into detail about everything that's been happening in the past while I was off camera. But it's something that I've seen be successful in a couple of Let's Plays on YouTube before. So yeah, it's something to think about. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that idea, because currently, like, there really isn't that much for us to do. Though we can theoretically try a naval invasion, but I'm not quite sure where, because we do need to find a place where, because that but we'd have to find a place where that is actually like, that's gonna help us. And I don't know where that would be the case. My dream is that either Japan beats the Fengshan government, well that's the ideal situation, or the Fengshan government beats Japan, they peace out, but Japan still gets into a war with the Soviet Union. Yeah, like in terms of like where we can strategically at the moment, the force disparity on this line here makes it so that I would rather not try to push for any territorial gains, and would instead greatly prefer to try to hold defensively in order to spend the minimal amount of manpower to inflict the maximum amount of casualties upon the enemy. Because as we can see, the Commune of France, they are completely running out again. Some of the other German nations are not, though, yet. And of course, we have this garbage to deal with. It might be that the solution for us is, for example, to wear them out over here in Europe for a while, and then just pull out. And then... Sorry, my throat messed up a little bit there, or acted up. And then move our troops somewhere down to France, I think, and stage a naval invasion of Crimea. And then set that up as like our jumping off point, and then try as soon as possible as we can, like as fast as possible upon landing, to rush Kiev and capitulate the Socialist Republic of Ukraine. That would essentially eliminate the largest portion of the enemy's manpower, and then from there potentially also take out the Transcaucasian Socialist Republic, which we could pull out of Ukraine potentially, or if our allies can hold, and then naval invade and do this as well, or just regular invade. Basically, the idea is just going to be like to kind of in a gamey fashion, I guess, capitulate both nations and remove resources and manpower from the socialist bloc. It's not a winning strategy, but it's at least a strategy. And a failure to plan is a plan to fail. I don't see any like other easy strategies for success. We could, I mean, we could in theory. No, we can't capitulate the Soviet Union. That is like, that's an impossibility. But we could potentially try to capitulate the Italians. Though that wouldn't really benefit us all that much, because they aren't really being all that effective to begin with zero manpower. The other only real like actual beneficial strategic thing to do would be to potentially naval invade in southern France and push down into Iberia in order to try to help out and gain some encirclements over here. I think that actually might be the best plan, to maybe naval invade in Bilbao and then try to get an encirclement here. However, for the kind of encirclement play which I have been planning to start doing, I want to wait until we get our tanks up, because they are going to be the most important part of that encirclement strat. We need like a highly mobile unit that can also break through enemy divisions. And also the music has stopped. Or it's just very low. Huh. Oh, it's this song, wait. Yeah, the song's just very, very quiet. But we do have another reactor coming up soon. Yeah, I think the idea is going to be to try to perform some encirclements, because the Portuguese frontier is extremely stacked on both sides. So if we could just land somewhere here and try to go for small encirclements, but do many of them, that would be the ideal, I think. And of course the problem is that these guys might jump in, at which point I think if the Union of Socialist American States jump in, or if the Commonwealth of Canada capitulates, then I think that is going to be the end point of the playthrough. Like, that's when we basically concede defeat. I could also see a possible world in which like an actual realistic, in my opinion, outcome of this war, because of the immense casualties on all sides. I do think that the socialist nations would be very eager to peace out. However, I don't think that their eagerness to peace out trumps our eagerness to continue the fight. Like we or the eagerness to peace out is not as strong on our side. So I think if we, for example, pushed out to here, then and the Japanese invaded the Soviet Union, that could create a situation in which there was such or enough pressure in order to motivate the Soviet Union to sign some sort of armistice with us, which would then probably lead to the Japanese and the Soviets fighting a bit in Siberia in a war that would take forever and be costly, which could result in an armistice there as well, which then results in a sort of Cold War world. Seems like a possible outcome. That is, of course, only if these guys are not involved. If these guys are involved, then that changes the whole equation. gonna send some troops down here and take a couple of provinces. I'm gonna take these two, just because they sit on a river, so they're kind of easier to defend. And yeah, that's basically it. Just to give us some better territory to defend. Yeah, I probably should have looked at the strategic bombers, and oh, they're fine. The enemy probably has barely any planes. It was mentioned that I don't need to actually have the strategic bombers assigned on a mission, which means I'm going to take them off so we don't actually win. Like, I don't need them assigned on a mission in order to drop any nuclear bombs. And they are in range of pretty much any target that we have, so we're good. Yeah, it is looking increasingly likely that we'll have to nuke something French. A lot of Indian troops coming in here as well. Coming from where though? Actually, yeah, there's this whole like weird railroad of troops across northern Africa here. At least we're still holding here and costing the enemy immense amounts of manpower, I assume, because they're constantly attacking into mountains and stuff. Let's see then. More tech. Still ways off on all the other tech that I want to get, like jet fighters and stuff, just because it's cool to have. Something I want to do in a playthrough before I end it. We'll do the rubber, because we do have the manufacturing, or the synthetic We're losing at Eindhoven, so I'm gonna just move all these guys in for an attack. Actually, no, I'm not gonna move all of them. I can probably spare a couple of them that I'll send over to Eindhoven to help defend. Tank is almost done. I probably want to exercise it as well and get it up to a more elite status, like more trained. We do have our second reactor, which means 123 days, which means we have a, I mean, I assume it's just like a linear 100% reduction in time for each reactor. Total production speed 0.5% a day, so then one should have been 0.25, right? Doesn't really say. Okay, well, we defended Eindhoven, which means that we can now assist in this attack. After we're done taking that province, I'm going to move these guys down south and then have these guys assist that attack, because there's a lot of wounded divisions down here. Alright, cool. I like Bren carrier looking ass thing. I'll have these guys recover their organization and stuff before I do anything, because it's better to have that organization right now in order to serve, or in order to be able to defend, than it is to push in aggressively. Also, we have gotten a lot of troops now to reinforce this line. A lot of those Indian troops, which they might be shipping off from Portugal, which is kind of worrying, but maybe this gives us an opening to actually be more aggressive on this front. I still do think that the enemy does possess more troops on this line than we do. Yeah, they do. It's not, like, very significant of an advantage, but it's still an advantage. Must also be mentioned that some of those divisions that you're seeing are also, I believe, no, actually, they're not actually counting the ones moving in the ocean. Cool. Oh yeah, that's actually a much larger advantage than I thought it was. Those are Soviet divisions here coming in. It's a cool song. Mother Anarchy loves her sons. See how we're doing for the mine laying here. Oh boy, that's a lot of divisions stacked on the New England border, and holy shit, they have forts. No troops defending the Canadian border. God, I hate the provinces in this region. Like, look at that. That's a, or like tiles or whatever. That's a tile. I can't even see it. Like, you can barely see it if you remove all the UI elements. Fucking, my chair is so loud it's falling apart. Oh, we're 50% almost towards our next nuke. I think we're going to employ it in, yeah, in a, some sort of operation here, once we get the tank. I'm thinking, we'll save the nuke until we reach the shore, or until we reach like the actual landing part of the naval elimination, the landing phase, and then once we reach Bilbao, if we find that it is occupied by troops we can't defeat, then we'll nuke them, and then defeat them, and then move in. Otherwise, we'll save that nuke for any other sort of like situation in which we might need a tactical nuke. Because that's what, you know, the capacity we're using these in. We're using them in a tactical capacity, not a strategic capacity. The strategic capacity would be to wear down the enemy's... well, technically we use it in a strategic capacity over here, but the strategic capacity would be to wear down the enemy's infrastructure, their industrial capacity, or their willingness to fight. as expressed by their stability or whatever it is, that it gets reduced when you nuke them. Or the surrender threshold or whatever. Oh, that we've lost Leviathan again. Every time we move away from that. Yeah, if we do sort of enact the changes that I've suggested for the series, then the idea would still be to release an episode every day, but just to have the episodes, you know, actually have stuff going on in them. Though there might be days when I can't release an episode because I, you know, literally do not have time enough to play enough for something to happen. That might be the case. I can't really tell. Can't predict the future for that kind of like situation, but it is a valid concern that you might have. Some days there might not. Of course, the newly started America playthrough might tide you over for that. Because I assume that one, like the part I love about America in this game is that you have something interesting going on pretty much all the time because of the Civil War. So that series should probably be a lot of fun. I'm basically just redoing the same thing we did last time when we took back Leviathan, which is we send troops to this area, and we send troops to this area, and then we attack them at multiple directions. This time, however, I'm going to push all the way out to Groningen. Possibly, if we see an opening, I will try for an encirclement, but I find that extremely doubtful that that's going to be happening with 18, 20 Communist France divisions over here. A lot of Soviet divisions. I'll wait until the Soviets have left that tile before I move in. Actually, I'll stop that, and then do this, because then these guys can move in here if an opportunity presents itself. That's interesting. Enable landing by Germany. Seems kind of impotent though, because of the low amount of troops they've brought, and none of them are quite mobile, so they can't rush down any victory points or anything. You know, a naval landing in Barcelona would not be a good idea, because we'd require a lot of troops from the like the larger coalition to help us, and we can't really rely on that. I will send the mountain troops down south though if we do attack the Iberian Peninsula because of all the mountains present there. It's going to leave Norway quite vulnerable and undefended, but I suppose that'll just have to be. I'm gonna move some troops over there because I'm not comfortable with the amount of casualties we'll be taking while they're attacking us here, so I'm gonna move some more troops over so we can have more people on that line. Actually, no, some of them are, no wait, yeah, we've got one reserve. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it ended. Now they're attacking here. Hold. Once these guys recover, I will try to push for one of these, but it seems like those are extremely well defended. Yeah, this is just like a... This is a quagmire. I'll yeah, I'll try for the other plan. I'll try for the invasion of Iberia plan later on, though, not this episode. So we are closing to the end of the episode, so thank you so much for watching. Please tell me your thoughts about the alternate structure for this series, where we might, you know, go a couple of episodes or a couple of months or weeks or whatever in game without an actual episode covering those, and then I'll start recording whenever something interesting happens. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and as always, you can reach me on social media following the links in the description down below, and you can also support me on Patreon for $1 and up. And that is about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.